Listen closely. Women aren't some unsolvable riddle. What you call mystery is simply behavior shaped by emotion and habit. The men who win don't guess. They understand the rules that steer her mind. Then they play with quiet skill. Today I'm not handing you pick-up lines or cheap tricks. I'm giving you 7 psychological levers, real, tested, subtle moves that change how a woman feels about you. This isn't about coercion, it's about clarity. It's about learning the hidden currents so you can move with purpose instead of flailing in confusion. Imagine being the man who no longer chases attention because attention finds him. Imagine a woman thinking of you at odd hours, replaying moments, wondering why she keeps coming back. That level of pull isn't born from flashy displays or empty compliments. It's engineered through presence, restraint, and a few precise shifts in how you show up. If you're tired of being forgettable, if you're done with the games that leave you exhausted, stay with me. I'll walk you through 7 psychological principles that flip indifference into obsession, the kind of attention that lasts, that lingers, that changes the dynamic without theatrics or desperation. This is for men who want to be rare, not needy. For men who prefer mastery over mimicry. Press play, absorb it, practice it, and watch how everything changes. Number 1. Ignore her beauty. Praise her mind. Most men make the same mistake the moment a beautiful woman enters the room. They feed the obvious. "You're gorgeous," they say, again and again. A line so worn it has become invisible. She hears it, smiles out of habit, and files it with the thousands of other compliments that mean nothing. That's the trap. You want to be remembered. Stop confirming what the world already told her. Here's the deeper truth. Attraction that lasts is not built on surface praise. It's built on being seen where others never look. Women, like men, are not one-dimensional. They carry ideas, habits, ironies, stories, and a private language of thought that rarely gets acknowledged. When you mistake her for a face, you teach her how to see you. Shallow, predictable, easy. When you notice her mind, you force a re-evaluation. You change the frame. So how do you do it? It begins with attention. Not the loud attention of compliments or exaggerated gestures, but the quiet attention of listening. When she says something sharp, a small insight about a book, a pointed joke about work, a strange angle on a news item, don't react with surface praise. Pause, hold her gaze. Respond with something that reflects you actually registered what she said. That's a perspective most people miss. Or you notice things other people let slide. That's rare. Simple. True, it lands. The reason this works is psychological. Compliments about looks are abundant. Compliments about intellect are scarce. Scarcity makes value, but more than scarcity, you're delivering a different signal. You are discerning. You are not moved by the obvious, and that makes your attention meaningful. Instead of flooding her with validation, you hand her recognition. The kind that touches identity rather than ego. Identity is sticky. Ego is ephemeral. There's also a philosophical layer here, one the Stoics would approve of. Marcus Aurelius urges us to see things as they are, not as our desires project them. When you compliment what is true about a person's character, her thoughtfulness, her precision, her curiosity, you align yourself with reality. You are not flattering, you are acknowledging. That kind of honesty is rare and it breeds respect. Respect converts to curiosity. Curiosity becomes attachment. Practical examples matter. If she discusses a film's theme, don't say, "Nice taste." Say, "You read the film differently than most. You notice the moral ambiguity." If she describes a problem at work, don't sympathize immediately. Ask a sharp question that shows you are listening. What part of that bothered you most, and why? These moves invite depth. They turn small talk into intellectual intimacy. A warning, though, this is not a performance. Women sense authenticity. If you praise her mind the same way you praised 30 others, it rings false. The goal is not to flatter her into dependence, but to be genuinely interested in the human before you. Curiosity must be real. If you don't care about the ideas, don't fake it. Cultivate it. Read, reflect, practice noticing nuance. Presence grows out of inner richness. Finally, remember the timing. Praise her mind early. It seeds interest. Praise her looks after you've established that deeper connection, and it lands differently. It becomes validation from a man who sees more than the surface. That layered approach flips the dynamic. She moves from being pursued to wondering why you, specifically, drew such careful attention. That wonder is the root of obsession, not cheap flattery. So stop confirming the obvious. Stop handing out the same tired lines. See what others don't. Praise what really matters. Be the man who notices substance. In that quiet discernment, you become rare, and rarity is magnetic. Number 2. Pull away when she wants you. Close. Here's a truth few men are willing to hear. The moment she starts wanting you more is the exact moment you must learn to pull away. Not as a trick, not as manipulation, but as discipline. Because in that small act of restraint lies one of the deepest expressions of masculine strength. The ability to hold your center when desire tries to pull you off balance. Most men do the opposite. The second she starts showing more affection, more texts, more warmth, more curiosity, they panic in disguise. They mistake her interest for a finish line and they sprint toward it. They respond faster. They talk longer. They cancel plans just to see her. They start giving more, thinking, if I match her energy, she'll stay. But what happens instead is subtle. Her energy fades. The chase dies. Because the man she felt drawn to, the man who had mystery, direction, and control, has just traded all of it for comfort. A woman's attraction isn't sustained by what she already has. It's sustained by what she feels she could lose. Not out of cruelty, but out of human psychology. We all value what we must reach for. When you're always available, she doesn't feel your presence. She assumes it. But when you pull away just slightly, when your time, your focus, your energy become earned again, something shifts. You awaken her curiosity. You make her wonder. You become unpredictable in a world that's painfully predictable. Stoicism teaches the same principle in a different language. The Stoic man does not react. He responds. He does not rush to please emotion. He masters it. When you learn to stay composed in the heat of connection, when you resist the urge to chase validation, you embody emotional self-control. And that's magnetic. It's not the withdrawal itself that creates attraction. It's the quiet strength behind it. The message it sends is clear. I choose you, but I don't need you. Imagine this. She sends a text expecting an instant reply, but instead, you're focused on your work, your training, your mission. Hours later, you respond calmly, without apology. That gap, that silence, does more than words ever could. It tells her you have a life, one that doesn't revolve around her presence. And in that silence, her mind begins to wander. Did I say something wrong? Is he losing interest? Why am I thinking about him so much? And that's when you've entered her thoughts. This isn't about playing games or withholding affection. It's about maintaining emotional gravity. Gravity doesn't chase. It pulls everything toward it effortlessly. When you stand in your masculine energy with steadiness and restraint, you create that pull. You make her lean in. And here's the paradox. When you do show affection, when you do open up, it hits deeper. Because it's not coming from need. It's coming from choice. It's no longer a plea for attention. It's a gift of connection. A woman can feel that difference instantly. Most men fear losing her if they pull away. But the truth is, you only lose her when you lose yourself. When you abandon your purpose to feed her emotions, you stop being the man she was drawn to in the first place. Real attraction isn't built in closeness. It's built in contrast. The tension between distance and connection is what keeps the flame alive. So, when she leans in, don't smother. When she calls more, don't drop everything. When she wants more of you, give her less of your availability and more of your mystery. Hold your ground. Stay centered. Let her come closer, not because you chased, but because your stillness pulled her in. That's not playing hard to get, that's being hard to move. And in that immovable calm, she finds something she can't explain and can't stop thinking about. Number 3. Make her jealous, subtly. Now let's talk about something that makes a lot of men uncomfortable. Jealousy. Most men avoid this topic because they think it's toxic, manipulative, or childish. But here's the truth. When done subtly and with intention, jealousy is one of the most powerful emotional triggers you can awaken in a woman. It's not about making her feel small or insecure. It's about quietly reminding her, through your actions, not your words, that you are valuable, desired, and not waiting for anyone's validation. Here's what most men do wrong. The moment a woman gives them attention, they drop everything. They stop talking to other women, they stop living their life, and they begin orbiting around her as if she's the center of their universe. They think this shows devotion, but what it really shows is neediness. And neediness kills attraction faster than anything else. Because deep down, women are drawn to men other women also desire. It's competition that keeps their emotions alive. If no one else seems interested in you, she'll start to wonder why she was. But when she senses, even subtly, that other women are drawn to you, her attention sharpens, her curiosity deepens. You suddenly become a puzzle she wants to solve again. This doesn't mean flirting in front of her or trying to prove anything. That's insecurity disguised as confidence. Real power lies in subtlety, in how you carry yourself, in your calm presence, in the quiet confidence of a man who doesn't chase validation. Let her feel that you're in demand, that you have a life beyond her. Let her see that other people, men and women alike, are drawn to your energy. You don't have to say a word. Women are incredibly intuitive. They pick up on the smallest cues, the way others greet you, the way you hold conversations, the way you move through the world. It all speaks louder than words. When she senses that others find you interesting, something shifts inside her. A small spark of jealousy ignites, and that spark makes her want to fight for your attention again. It reawakens the emotional tension that attraction thrives on. Suddenly, she starts thinking about you more, even when she doesn't want to. But here's where many men go wrong. They overdo it. They try to force jealousy to make her react. That's when it becomes manipulative. The goal isn't to provoke, it's to remind. To remind her that you're a man with options, a man who chooses her, not a man who needs her. When jealousy arises naturally from your confidence and self-sufficiency, it strengthens attraction. When you radiate quiet self-assurance, that calm knowing that you don't need to prove your worth, she feels it deeply. It pulls her in emotionally, because women are not drawn to possession, they're drawn to potential loss. The truth is, when she realizes she could lose you, she starts valuing you more. The energy shifts. You no longer chase. She leans in. You no longer explain. She starts wondering. So stay calm. Stay grounded. Keep living your life with purpose, not performance. You don't need to play games. Just embody the kind of man whose life is too full to orbit anyone. That quiet, unbothered energy. That's what makes you unforgettable. Because in the end, the man who makes her feel safe yet uncertain, admired yet challenged, secure yet inspired, is the man she can't get out of her mind. Number 4, act like you could walk away. Anytime. There's a quiet, unshakable power in a man who doesn't cling, a man who isn't afraid to lose a woman because he knows he'll never lose himself. That mindset alone separates the ordinary from the exceptional. Most men, once they taste affection, a little validation, or a hint of intimacy, immediately start to hold on tighter. They stop breathing freely. Every message becomes a test. Every silence feels like rejection. They start bending, adjusting, sacrificing pieces of their peace, all just to keep her happy. But here's the irony. The moment you cling, you lose. Because attachment rooted in fear isn't love, it's dependence. And dependence quietly kills attraction. Women don't become obsessed with men who act like they can't live without them. They become obsessed with the men who could live without them, yet choose not to. The ones who are grounded, self-contained, and emotionally whole. When a woman meets a man like that, it unsettles her in the best way. She can't easily define him, can't predict him, can't control him. Because he's not reacting to her mood or behavior. He's setting the tone. He's not chasing approval. He's living by his own code. And that, right there, is rare. When you act like you could walk away at any time, you're not being cold. You're being free. You're sending a message that says, I'm here because I want to be, not because I need to be. That difference is everything. It tells her that your presence is a choice, one she must continue to earn. See, true confidence isn't about dominance or detachment. It's about self-respect. It's knowing that you bring value to the table and you won't trade your peace for fleeting affection. When you hold that frame, you don't have to raise your voice or play games. Your energy speaks for you. It says, I'm a man of depth. I can love fully, but I can also let go completely. And that kind of energy drives women wild, not because it manipulates them, but because it awakens something primal in them. Respect. She starts to see you differently. You're no longer another man trying to impress her. You're a man who has something she can't quite grasp. Self-control. Most women are used to men who chase comfort, who avoid conflict, who try to please at all costs. But when you show her you're willing to walk away from half-hearted effort, you break that pattern. You become the exception, a man who doesn't crumble under emotional pressure, a man who knows that walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Walking away doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care enough about yourself not to settle for less than mutual respect and emotional balance. It's a standard, not a strategy. It's the silent declaration that says, I want connection, not control. I want peace, not chaos. I want love, but I won't abandon myself to keep it. And when a woman feels that from you, when she realizes you're not bound by fear or need, something changes. She starts leaning in. She starts valuing your presence more. Because now, every moment with you feels like a privilege, not a guarantee. In the end, the man who can walk away at any time rarely has to, because his strength doesn't come from distance, but from discipline. He's not cold, he's composed, not detached, but deeply centered. That's the kind of man a woman doesn't just want, she remembers. Number 5. Be unpredictable. Never let her fully figure you out. There's a dangerous comfort that comes from being too predictable, especially in how you show up with a woman. At first, your consistency feels safe, admirable even. But over time, it becomes ordinary. The spark that drew her in begins to fade. Why? Because human nature craves uncertainty. We're drawn to what we can't fully understand. And a man who reveals everything about himself too soon becomes a solved puzzle. Appreciated, but no longer exciting. A woman's emotions are wired for curiosity. Her mind stays engaged, not when she knows everything about you, but when she feels there's more to discover. That's why unpredictability? when done with calm control and intention, is one of the most powerful forms of masculine presence. It keeps her alert. It keeps her guessing. It keeps her thinking about you long after you've left. Now, unpredictability doesn't mean being inconsistent in your values or erratic in your actions. A Stoic man is never chaotic. What it means is that you stop living in emotional autopilot. You stop being too routine in your words, your timing, your tone. If you always text her back instantly, sometimes don't. If you're always the one initiating plans, take a step back and let her wonder if you will this time. If you always compliment her the same way, pause. Let your silence speak for you. This kind of unpredictability isn't about manipulation. It's about presence. It's about being a man with depth. A man who can shift between serious and playful, focused and relaxed, mysterious and open, all without losing his center. Because emotional variety is what keeps attraction alive. When she doesn't quite know what to expect, not because you're unreliable, but because you're dynamic, her mind stays engaged. She starts wondering, what's he thinking? What's he feeling today? Why does he seem different? That curiosity becomes emotional tension, and tension, when handled with composure, becomes obsession. It's the same energy that great artists, leaders, and thinkers carry. They never show all their cards. They let people feel that there's more beneath the surface. That's the kind of energy that keeps a woman fascinated. Imagine this. You're usually calm, reflective, grounded. But one night, you suddenly tease her with a smile, challenge her with a witty remark, or say something completely unexpected, yet sincere. That shift and that break from the pattern catches her off guard in the best way. She laughs, she blushes, and more importantly, she remembers. Because it awakened something new in her. Women crave emotional movement, not drama, but depth. They don't want to feel like they've read the last page of your book. They want to keep turning the pages, discovering, feeling, guessing. The moment you become predictable, her mind starts to drift. But when she senses there's always a new layer to you, a thought she hasn't heard, a mood she hasn't seen, a silence she can't quite interpret, she stays hooked. So don't be the man who repeats himself. Same compliments, same stories, same reactions. Be the man who is consistent in strength but unpredictable in expression. Be the man who keeps his peace steady but his presence intriguing. Because mystery isn't about hiding, it's about revealing slowly. And that's the secret most men miss. When she can't fully read you, she begins to write stories about you in her mind. She imagines your thoughts. She replays your words. She starts creating meaning in your silence. And when you reach that level, when she's building stories around your mystery, you're not just in her life anymore. You're in her head. Be still. Be composed. But never be fully known. Because a predictable man is soon forgotten, but a mysterious one is remembered forever. Number 6. Trigger her competitive side, subtly, ethically, and with purpose. There's an old truth most men never learn. Value is social. We assign it in a vacuum and we assign it in a crowd. A man who's admired by others becomes more valuable to the person standing next to him, not because he changed, but because the world confirmed what she might already have felt. When other women notice you, laugh at your jokes, or drift into your orbit, something ancient flickers on in her, the sense that you are worth competing for. Make no mistake, this is not about cruelty or manipulation. It's not a game of publicly humiliating someone to prove your worth. It's about living with such presence and integrity that attention follows you naturally, and allowing that attention to do quiet work on her psyche. When she sees other women drawn to you, it awakens pride, protection, and the desire to stand out. She no longer takes your presence for granted. She sees herself in relation to you. And suddenly, she wants to be the one who holds your attention. Why does this work? Because humans are wired for comparison. Social proof is biological. If others value something, our brains tag it as important. For women, who are often social and relationally attuned, the fact that you are desired by others signals scarcity and status. Scarcity creates urgency. Status creates respect. The combination creates emotional investment. How to trigger this dynamic without being a jerk. 1. Live a life worth noticing. The simplest, most ethical form of making other women notice you is to be interesting. Cultivate your work, your hobbies, your fitness, your circle. Be the man who moves with direction. Presence is magnetic. You don't schedule attention, you attract it by being alive and engaged. When you bring purpose into the room, others will notice. That attention becomes social proof. 2. Be warm, not needy. When other women show light interest, respond politely and confidently, not flirtatiously or with overt escalation. Let your manners and calm self-possession do the work. Overreacting either by pursuing them or by over-defensive displays ruins the effect. The goal is quiet evidence that you're socially desirable, not a spectacle. 3. Show, don't tell. You don't need to boast about attention. You don't announce who likes you. You simply do things that demonstrate your value. Laugh easily, speak well, be generous without expectation, hold conversations that leave people richer. Authentic competence and kindness are visible. They make you someone others want to be around. And that visibility is noticed by her. 4. Cultivate a balanced network. Spend time with diverse people. Make room for platonic friendships that include women. When she sees you move through mixed social circles with ease, it signals that your value isn't dependent on her alone. It pushes her to prioritize you rather than assume you're hers by default. 5. Allow her to rise. The trick isn't always to provoke jealousy, it's to give her a chance to respond. When she senses competition, she can either withdraw or step forward. The man who understands this gives her space to choose to increase her investment. If she steps up, reciprocate with genuine appreciation, not possessiveness. A few warnings in the tone of a man who values dignity. Do not weaponize jealousy. Do not flirt with obvious intent to wound. Don't manufacture drama. These tactics produce short-term emotional spikes and long-term erosion of trust. The objective is to create a natural environment where her appreciation grows because she sees you are wanted, not because you make others feel excluded or manipulated. From a Stoic perspective, this is elegant. You maintain your inner discipline while external realities confirm your value. You do not chase admiration. You embody qualities that deserve it. You do not coerce affection. You allow her to respond to genuine signals of worth. When done with integrity, triggering her competitive side is not a game of domination. It is an honest demonstration of living well. And human beings, when they witness that, often respond with the deepest form of desire, the wish to belong. Remember, attraction that lasts is never manufactured. It is recognized. Build a life that earns recognition. Let the world notice you, and if she rises to the challenge, welcome her presence. If she does not, your aim remains unchanged. Keep building, keep living, keep being a man who cannot be taken for granted. Number 7. Give her attention, then take it away. There is a quiet violence in constant availability. Men are taught to prove, to prove, to prove, through messages, through presence, through relentless reassurance. They think abundance of attention equals value. It doesn't. It makes you ordinary. Attention given without pause turns into background noise. A melody played on repeat becomes wallpaper. What once felt like warmth becomes expected. Attraction is not sustained by endless feeding. It is stoked by restraint and contrast. The human heart responds to absence as much as to presence. Give and take create meaning. Rhythm creates desire. Understand this first. This is not cruelty, and it is not a game played to manipulate emotions. The aim is not to hurt. It is to restore balance to how you offer yourself. When you hand away your time, your words, your validation as if they are limitless, you teach people, not just women, that those things are not precious. Then, when you suddenly offer them, they register no weight. When you make your attention a currency, you must also show that it has limits. Why it works psychologically. Scarcity and contrast are wired into our reward system. When something is rare or intermittent, the brain assigns it greater value. When attention is predictable and constant, the brain stops cataloging it as special. When it is intermittent, a warm, meaningful presence followed by silence, the brain loops, replays, anticipates. She remembers what felt different. She tries to recreate it. How to practice this without becoming petty? 1. Be deliberate with your availability. Decide where your time goes. Protect your work, your training, your projects, your friendships. When a woman receives your focused attention, it will feel like a deliberate gift, because it is. Presence directed by purpose is magnetic. Presence that is unbounded is forgettable. 2. Give deep, not wide. When you're with her, be with her. Put away the phone. Speak less and listen more. Create moments that are rich in texture, a conversation that edges into something true, a touch that is full of meaning, a laugh that comes from shared discovery. Those concentrated moments make your absence felt. 3. Withdraw calmly, not angrily. Taking attention away is not drama, it is maturity. When life requires you elsewhere, work deadlines, training, family, the discipline of a craft, step back with composure. No passive-aggressive silence. No scorekeeping. Simply live. Your calm withdrawal signals that your life is full and that you are not defined by her response. 4. Let silence be a test of character, not a punishment. If she reaches for you and you are not instantly available, watch what she does. Does she fill the gap kindly and patiently? Does she show curiosity, or does she dramatize? This is information. It tells you about her capacity for patience, curiosity, and investment. 5. Return with value. When you come back, make it matter. Share an observation, an honest feeling, a plan. Your return should not be a flood of apologies or frantic reassurance. It should be a quiet restoration of connection, proof that your time is chosen, not given out of need. A word of warning: don't weaponize absence to punish or to manipulate. That breaks trust. The Stoic approach is integrity. You withdraw because you have standards, because you honor your life, and because you understand that respect is earned by both parties. You do not vanish to cause suffering. You step away to preserve your dignity and to let value reassert itself. When practiced with dignity, this pattern cultivates emotional gravity. She learns that your attention is not a right, but a gift. She begins to cherish the moments you give because they are rare and meaningful. She will think of you in your absence. She will replay your words. She will miss the way your presence made her feel. There is nothing dishonorable in guarding your time. In fact, it is one of the most honorable acts a man can commit, to value himself enough to be scarce and generous enough to return fully. This is how you move from being another option to being the one she cannot easily replace. If this message spoke to you, if it reminded you to rise above neediness and return to your power, then don't just scroll away. Subscribe to the Stoic Wolf and keep sharpening your mind, your discipline, and your presence. Stay grounded. Stay silent. Stay powerful.